In this video, let's look into using components in PlantUML diagrams. Now, components are the basic building blocks for building a PlantUML diagram. Now, before I start, let me show you that I have installed VS Code. Within VS Code, I have installed an extension of PlantUML and I have installed Java within my machine as well. Now, with that, what will happen is that I will be able to generate a PlantUML diagram. Now, as you see over here in VS Code, I have this folder. This is March 2026. I've created a couple of PML. Now, the next PML which I'm going to create is components.puml. So I'll just name it as components.puml. Now, this is a part of the video series which I'm creating for PlantUML. Now, this will explain about just using components. Now, if you want to know the basics about PlantUML, you can have a look into my other videos where I have explained what PlantUML is, how to set up a PlantUML setup within your environment to generate PlantUML diagram. Now for plant UML, first thing we start with @start UML, and then we specify the name. Like name is optional, but then you can specify whatever you want. So I'll just say components demo. Now I would advise not to use hyphen or any other special character. Just use a simple a character set, and I will end this UML with this @end UML. So this is your basic plant UML syntax. Now, if you want to preview this plant UML, you can just do a right click and then you get various options. Now let me unzoom it a bit and right click, export current diagram, export current file diagrams, preview current diagram, generate URL for the diagram. So if I preview this diagram, I should be not seeing anything. It should throw basically an error because I haven't written any code over here. Now, okay, to start with, if I want to say if I'm building a use case diagram, so actor is one of the component which I'm gonna use, right? So we just name it as actor and say maybe actor one, and I go ahead and preview it. I should be able to see an actor within the screen. Now I can have multiple actors. So if you have a use case, you can start building multiple actors over here. So actor. Then we have something called as agent. So I'll just call it as agent one. And then we have something called as artifact. Now you can name it anything. I've just named it as artifact one, agent one, actor one. I'm just showing you all the component. I'm not going to build any specific logical plant UML diagram, but I'll just show you what are the components which you can utilize within your plant UML diagram. So you have actor, you have agent. Now how you can use that is maybe if you have an actor two, and you can just say actor one talks to actor two, or maybe it interacts with actor two. So actor one and actor two, and I'll just preview it. Now all the diagrams have a different kind of a syntax. So use case has a different syntax, sequence diagram has a different syntax, state diagram has a different syntax. So you need to be very careful in what component you're trying to relate. Now as you see over here, actor one interacts with actor two, agent one artifact has no relation whatsoever. Now other artifact which you can build. Now again, there is like you can apply various theme. We can apply skin param. Say maybe I'll just say skin as rose. I can preview the current diagram. I can apply various themes. I can apply skin, theme skin, and other things over here. But for now, I'll be just keeping it very simple. The goal of this exercise is to just explain you different kind of objects or components which may come handy when you start building a plant UML diagram. Now we have seen artifact. Now artifact can be used for storing files. Now if I just copy this artifact multiple times over here, and I'll call this as a Word doc, or maybe it can be a template repo. And I can even group them into a specific container and keep it in one area within the diagram. So there are multiple things which you can do within a component, but for time being we'll just keep it as it is. So we have multiple actors, we have multiple agents, and now we have multiple artifact. What are the other things which you can do? You can build a boundary. So I have this boundary one. Then we can have a card. So I'll just say card one. And then we can have a cloud. So if you want to demonstrate cloud, kind of an infrastructure like Azure cloud or Dynamics 365 cloud, or maybe Amazon cloud, you can do that. And there is something called as component as well. So you can just say component one, and you have something called as a control. So I'll just write control one. Let's preview this first and see how what are the shape which plant UML generates out of it. Now there's a typo over here. I'll just remove one N and we'll just preview the diagram. So we are now looking into boundary, card, cloud, component, and control. Now if you see cloud, component, control, boundary. So boundary basically like you can start with like a start or a stop kind of a scenario, and then you connect it with various agent or artifact or template repos. And then if you want to show some sort of a loop, you can have this control component as well. Now you can link with each and everything. Like I can link control with a component with a cloud. So how do we do that? It's a simple link. So control one links with component one, and component one links with cloud one. And then I can make this as a dashed line item as well. So once it renders, it will show you a connection between control and component and the cloud. Control and the component and the cloud. Now I just put two dash, but it didn't understand two dash. I thought it might put a dashed item because for a sequence diagram it usually puts that, but sometimes it may not work if you mix and merge all those different diagram components. So you need to be a bit careful about that. Other thing which you can create is a database. Now in your diagram you may have a database, so I'll just say put database. And then for a like a entity relationship diagram, you will have an entity. So entity one. And then if you want to represent a file, like we represent the file in artifact, but that was like kind of like a block within a rectangle, and then the file system. Now you have a specific file. You can even have a folder. So I'll just say folder one. Other thing which I can remember is frame. So we can have frame one, and then we can have interface. So this is for the class diagram, or if you're writing a piece of code, and if you have an interface you can put that, or maybe something interfacing with the API, you can use that. Then you have something called as a node. So I'll just put node one. And then we can have something called as a package. So a complete package. And remember, you can have multiple things within your package as well. So let me save this and preview this diagram. So now we have so many things over here. We have database, we have entity, we have file, we have folder, we have frame, uh, node one, package one. Now you see all this different component. Now you see node one, it didn't come up with that skin rows. So that's why, avoid using the theming component like skin param or skin rows, but I would advise you to use themes. Now, if you see over here, there is a database and there's a file, there's a folder. So let's pick up, say, folder one. Now, let me create a folder as folder two. And maybe within folder, I will keep file as file X and file Y. I'm just trying this out. I'm not sure whether this will work or not. But what if you want to show file X and file Y within folder 2? Now, if I just put a curly brace opening and maybe a curly brace within here, format the document, and maybe preview. And let me see if I can like say group that folder within that file or not. uh, it may or may not work, but as you see over here, folder has, you can see that the folder is now part of file X and file Y. So like that you can group various artifact, that, and that artifact need not be of same type, it can be of any type, and then you can group that within your plant UML diagram. So now we have seen a lot of things. We have seen package. This is how the package looks. This is how the node looks. Interface, where did the interface go? Interface, yeah, this is interface. Then we have a frame, then we have a folder, which is this folder, and this is a file. So similarly within template repos you can have, maybe, let me see if I can put that as a artifact. So artifact template repo. So if I take this artifact of template repos, cut this, put it within the folder, and maybe if I try to nest and say like artifact and then folder and file, and I'll just see whether it works or not. So what I'm trying to do is, like, we have an artifact template repos, and then within that there is a folder, and then within that there is a file. This is like two level kind of a nesting, and yes, it allows you to do that. So you can have those kind of hierarchy defined within your diagram. Next up, we have seen package. We have seen package, we have seen node. So package is here, node is here, and then interface. Now next one is queue. So you can just write in q1 and stack. So all the programming components are available for you to use within your plant UML diagram. Now you may not use all this thing in at once, but there are options for you to use. And then sometimes instead of database you may like to use a storage. So there is a difference between a storage and a database. And then use case one, and let me preview this. So queue, if you're using a, say, maybe an Azure queue or something, you can represent that queue artifact. So you see the queue artifact, then you have a stack, you have a rectangle, you have a storage, and you have a use case. So you see storage and use case kind of look similar. Now use case, now where do we use use case? So basically you have actor 1, actor 2, right? So I will just say, now I will just write actor 1 participate in use case 1. Similarly I can write down use case 2, and I can write actor 2 participates in use case 2. So let's preview this and say, and we also have a relation of actor 1 and actor 2. So let me remove all the spaces. Yeah. So as you see, actor 1 participates in use case 1, actor 2 participates in use case 2, actor 1 and actor 2 has that active relationship. Now if you see this diagram bit looks odd because this is flowing from here left to right. What we can do is we can actually specify, if you want actor 1 and this use case to the left of actor 1, you can just type in between this two dash left. Similarly for actor 2 and use case 2, if you want again to be on the, maybe on the right hand side, you can just explicitly specify I want this on the right hand side, and we just preview the diagram. So you have an option to control the placement of different component, whether it is an use case or actor, or it can be anything. Now as you see, actor 1 use case 1, actor 2 use case 2. Now actor 1 actor 2 really doesn't make sense over here. What we can do is maybe we can just say actor 1 also participates in use case 2. And now there will be a multi relationship. So you can define those relationship. Now remember, for active one and use case two, we haven't defined on which side do we want that particular relationship, and that's why it has put active one linkages with use case two somewhere here. But we can say no, on active one I want that to be defined on the maybe left hand side, and then it will automatically try adjusting the diagram in such a way that active 1 to the left of use case 1 and use case 2, and then it will align active 2 accordingly. But then it has already distinguished that, okay, active 1 to the left use case 2, active 1 to the left use case 1, active 2 to the right use case 2. Now this, if this has been left, then it would align it in a different way altogether. So let us preview that. So what I'm trying to show you is you have an option to control the placement of different component. It's not that you just need to rely on PML, but then you have an option to play around with the alignment as well. So that's it, folks. This is all about components within plant UML diagram. Thanks for watching.